Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Growed Up, the show where me and you and all of us try to figure out this adulthood thing. I've changed this intro I don't know how many times, but does it matter? No. Welcome back. I'm so happy to be back. Yo, I want to talk Reesa Teesa. Reesa Teesa. If you guys are not familiar with what I'm referring to or who I'm referring to, there was about 2 weeks back, right? About 2 weeks back, we had this 3 weeks back. This woman in America, in the United States of America. Her name is Reesa Teesa. It's her TikTok handle. So if you want to check it out, just go TikTok search "Who the fuck did I marry?" And she basically told a 50-part story of how she got swindled. Swindled, I guess, yeah. She got fooled by a man. But what I'm going to do is I'm not going to tell the whole story. I think it's worthwhile for you guys to just go over to her page and, just take some time, listen to it as a podcast if you have to. That's kind of what I did. And you're going to go listen to the story, the full story on your own. But bottom line, I think just to kind of overall summarize, because I know probably most of you are not going to go if you haven't. But it is that, so she basically met this guy online, and it was like butterflies or lightning from the first time that they met, or rather she clicked with him online and they decided to set up a date, and it was epic, and a lot of stuff happened before the date, and then when they got together the date, it was beautiful, and they left there feeling like, you know what, this is like my forever person. And this was I'd say 2 weeks prior to COVID, and she and this man moved in together because, we just started this relationship. It's 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks after that date, was they moved in together, and they thought to themselves, you know what, come to my place. Or rather, she said, I'm not going to go to your place because I don't know what type of life you live, okay? But come live with me. So he moved into her apartment, and basically so everything was cool, and he started helping her out with the bills. So she kind of felt comfortable with that. He paid for utilities, groceries, and all of that. She just basically had to pay her own bills, like rent and her loans and all of that stuff. But for the most part, the household stuff he was basically taking care of. And while there, he was telling her how he needed to buy a house, and that it started talking about marriage, right? It's girl, I want to buy a house. Are you out? Am I buying a house, or are we buying a house? And she kept talking about how, she was basically she was like, yeah, let's buy a house together, whatnot. And you know what? I don't like doing this because I'm not telling the story properly. And I'm not necessarily a storyteller, but I don't want to tell you the story. So I'm not doing it justice. So I'm going to do this. Long story short, he basically gave it the run around, and she started to notice things about his stories. But then it turns out at the end of the day that this man was a liar. And none of what he was saying was true. None of what he was promising was true, and like I said, it's a long story, but at the end of the day, they got a divorce because they got married at some point. They got a divorce and whatnot, right? So I'm going to basically do this episode for those of you who have watched it, okay? Because I cannot summarize this woman's story in 1 hour, okay? This is an 8-hour story. I found somebody compacted it, but I would still advise you, because I don't want to take from her bag. Go to TikTok, find Reesa Teesa, and listen to the whole story. So I'm not going to really put a lot of effort into summarizing this thing, because I'm mainly talking to someone who has watched the story. But if you've not watched the story, don't be discouraged, because I want to talk about certain aspects that I think play into real life, especially for women who, for for guys who end up being liars, who end up being manipulators, and there are certain traits and certain flags that I, from the outside looking in, can see. And it's patterns that I've observed that are like similar in most of these stories. Okay. So don't leave this pod just because you've not watched Reesa Teesa. If you want to go watch it first and then come back, do that. But I don't think it's necessary. But before we dive into this whole story, I want you to please click on the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening to us from any of your favorite podcast listening platforms, just follow us, subscribe. If you're on Apple Podcast, leave me a 5-star, guys. I know I say this a lot, but like, let's push this. Like, this is the year, okay, where Growed Up is going to go, okay, to grow up type of thing. So let's just keep the ball rolling. I'm going to do my part as well and come in here and talk to you, and we're going to process adulthood together. So Reesa Teesa kind of inspired this whole part of adulthood called delusion, okay? Delusion is a huge problem, I think, that leads a lot of women into this type of trap. I am not justifying the behavior of these men, and I'm not trying to victim blame. But I want to make this disclaimer before I dive into this, because I feel like victim blaming sometimes is a word that we tend to use as a cop out to remove responsibility from some people in certain situations. I don't think that this is one of those. I feel like there are situations where you cannot point the finger at the victim because the situation happened to them. But there are situations where sometimes people allow themselves to be into. And I feel like we need to address those moments, right? And I feel like a lot of stories like this, like Reesa Teesa's Who the Fuck Did I Marry? Tinder Swindler. When I watched Tinder Swindler, I got that vibe of like, look, these guys are scammers. These guys are scumbags. Yes. But there's a part of where the women had these ideas that I think led them or made them easy targets for these guys. So I want to address that. I'm not saying that it's okay that these men do these things, or women, because men also fall for this. Okay. Men also get swindled. They get lied to a lot. Okay. But we don't talk about this a lot. We always just talk about, oh my God, women get lied to. Men too. Okay. But there's less sympathy for men. So I'm here to take away the sympathy for women, because you all know I believe in accountability. And I think that this is something that we really need to learn and start to look into with regards to women getting lied to. And in times they kind of let it happen. And I'm not talking to people who went into situations with good intentions. Okay. So I'm not victim blaming. I'm just addressing a part of the story that needs to be addressed, which is the accountability. And I think delusion kind of will open this whole can of worms. A can is open and there's worms everywhere. I saw that on Friends. Chandler said that. So what is delusion? Oh, there's a dog knocking. Ugh. Hold on. It's all of them. Hey, Kobe. Hello, 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 hello. Okay. Ugh. All right. So, hey, Odie. Hello, boy. Hey, darlings. Hello, everyone. Hello, 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 hello. So, okay. Here's what I want to do. Let's first address what delusion is. Let's define delusion. Okay. Delusion generally, I guess, refers to more of a in psychology terms, like in a psychological sense. It is a mental condition, or there are mental conditions that may include delusion as a symptom, or stuff like that. So I'm not going to dive into that, merely for the fact that I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a professional, and I'm not qualified to talk about delusion in that sense. I am talking to delusion. I'm referring to delusion in the more colloquial, the more casual sense. How, hey, yo, how we refer to people who are not in touch with reality. I want you guys to meet these dudes. You met them last week, but look at them again. Come, Kobe. Come, boy. It's Odie. It's Odie. It's Kobe. Okay. This is Kobe. Say hello, Kobe. Hello. Thank you. Bye bye. You licked my microphone. That's gross. All right. Oh, Odie. Okay, guys. Enough. Enough. Hey, enough. Thank you. So, we are talking about delusion in that sense, right? From the perspective of like, hey, listen, you're being delusional, girl. Okay. So, I want to address that and get that out of the way, okay? That we're not talking about it from a professional sense because I'm not a psychologist. So, I feel like in this regard, there was a little bit of delusion from Reesa Teesa's side. I know a lot of people might come for me for this, but it's okay. Why I say this is because I feel like, and this feeling I got as well from the Tinder swindler people. If you guys haven't watched that either, some dude went to swindle some women on Tinder and lied to them saying that he is a trillionaire, billionaire, or whatever. Stop it. So I find that many times women who fall for this, one of two things happens, right? It's either one of those things where like most women have, let me just check, am I on the right track? Okay, wait, before even, yeah. So most women, okay, kind of have this sense of value that is unrealistic. A lot of women, a lot of us believe that we are worth more than what we actually are. I saw someone talk about, this whole rating system. Are you a 4? Are you a 7? Are you a 10? Whatever. And they said, look at the people that you have dated and honestly rate them. And chances are you are in that range. So if you've just dated 4s or 5s, that's who you are, right? Because you attract who you are. You are what you attract, type of thing. So a lot of women have this idea that they deserve a man that is successful, that is handsome, that is going to take care of them, that is going to romance them, as well as let them be independent or whatever, right? I'm not trying to red pill you here. That's not my intention. But I'm just painting a picture of what most women think, right? We generally think that we are deserving of somebody of a higher status than what we even are able to match. Regardless of whether we think we can match that or not, we just feel like, I'm a woman, I deserve this. And when a guy who basically ticks all those boxes, right? So let's say me, I say, look, I am worthy of a dude that earns like millions a year. I am worthy of a guy that is going to pay for all my bills. He's not going to ever ask me for my money. He's going to take care of me and my family, take me on vacation, okay? And he's not going to force me to be a housewife and clean for him and have 7 kids, okay? I deserve that. I deserve a man who will be rich and handsome on top of that. And he's going to be very attractive. He's going to have a 6-pack and he's going to be tall, 2 meters tall. Okay. I deserve it. Should this man appear into my life, I will not question whether or not this man is real. Like, I will not question his intention. I will never question his intention. But if a guy that I deem beneath me, if a guy that I feel like, you know what, you're too broke, you can't take care of me, you're going to take me from bricks to shack, okay, you are just going to give me a hard time financially. I will also have to cooperate with you financially. Plus, I have to give you kids. I'm not willing to do that. When a guy like that approaches me, I will question his intentions. But I'll not question the rich man's intention. I'll question this guy's intention. And many times, we are not even sure whether or not that dude, the rich guy, the handsome guy, we don't even know for a fact whether he has what he has or not. We just assume based on how they present themselves, what they tell us, and how they show up. And we're like, oh, that is the guy. He ticks all my boxes. That's the man for me. We don't question intentions. Okay? I felt like Reesa did that. I feel like she didn't question, why would a man of such high stature suddenly be interested in a woman like me? What do I have to offer a man like this? Okay. What do I have to offer in this relationship that will satisfy a man of that stature? And why I say this, okay, and this is another thing that I think was a very fair point of discussion. We all agree that men are visual creatures. We all agree that men love physical. And we all agree that women are emotional creatures, that we like the insights, the affection, the romance, and all of that stuff. But for some reason, we as women do not recognize our attraction level, and we don't like to match my attraction level to the dude that's kind of approaching me. I'm going to talk to you about myself. I know that from my neck down, I, I have an all right body. Okay, I have a good body. Let me say that. And I know that because I work on it. I haven't done it for a few months, but I've got a good body I have an athletic body. And not just because I tend to work out, I also have the genetics therefore. But from my neck up, I'm not necessarily a pretty girl, and it's not just because of my eyes, but I'm not a pretty girl. So I know, and on top of I'm not like a pretty girl, I'm not into makeup, I'm not into the lashes, I'm not like in the hair, like now I'm rocking my hair short. I don't do nails. I can't do nails because of my condition, so I just don't present myself in that way. So I can't even fake this bullshit up here, right? But this is what I have to work with. I know how attractive I am based on the comments that I've gotten, as well as the reactions that I've gotten when I go out with my friends who are hotter than me. I know who gets approached the most. It's not me. So I cannot delude myself into thinking that I'm a 10 when I'm not a 10. I'm a 5. I know I'm a 5. I'm an average bitch. And that's okay. But there are women who are 5s and they think that they are 10s and therefore they deserve a 10. That is not how this works. Reesa Teesa is not a 10. She's not a 10. But she felt like she deserves a 10. And I say deserves because at points she even said, when is it my turn? This is finally my chance. This is my turn to be married. I've been praying for marriage all my life. And Lord, this is finally my chance, right? So she felt that she deserved what that man presented to be. That, my friends, is delusion. That is what I mean by delusion. I feel like there's a point where as women, we need to recognize our real market value and understand where we place in this chart. Not everybody is a 10. Not everybody can get a 10. 10s are for 10s. 5s are for 5s. 6s are for 6s. You cannot be a 5 and think that you're a 10 and expect to get a 10. If what you are and what you think don't match, that's dysmorphia. That is level dysmorphia. That's like in market value dysmorphia. You need to correct that. Be realistic. Is it nice? No. Are there things you can do about it? Yes. Maybe you do need to lose a little weight. Maybe not. Maybe you need to just take better care of your hygiene. Maybe not. Maybe there's nothing you can do about it. Maybe you've done everything you can do, and this is what you have to work with. Maybe you've got enough money to go for surgery and do some adjustments if you want to. If you can, go ahead. Why not? Improve your market value. See what you have, see what you can adjust, and work on that. Do you understand? So if there's a disconnect with what you really are and what you think you are, then the man who says to you, girl, I'm a 10, you are just going to accept because you think you're a 10. And because you think you're a 10, you think you deserve a 10. And that is how you get fucked over. Men lie to you because you present yourself in a way that they know your insecurity. These people are not just sitting there and trying their luck. They know who to target because you present certain insecurities about yourself. Okay? This is not true of most people, but for the most part, and when I say it's not true of most people, I'm not saying that every woman that was ever lied to or cheated on is not a 10. I'm not saying that 10s don't get cheated on or lied to. I'm not saying that 10s don't get scammed. That's not what I'm saying. But sorry, we are all adults, we are all grown ups, and we all understand what I'm trying to talk about. I don't know, I just got this feeling. That's why I just flipped and looked behind me. But you know what I'm talking about. We are talking in a general sense, and generally, this is what the consensus is. All right. So I personally got that feeling um that Reesa Teesa has this delusion about her market value, and she felt that she deserved somebody who would tell her that I've got a business, that I'm an executive, that I've got money to buy a fancy house. That's why he was able to convince her to go to Audi and pretend to be talking on the phone with people to convince her that he's a real deal, and that he went to go house viewing even after people told her. She chose to believe that this is possible. Maybe he's not lying to me. Why? Because she feels like if he's not lying to me, then I would have let go of a 10, So that is one point, right? I lost my mouse. Okay. Another thing that, yeah, so I guess those are my honest thoughts about it, because I felt like she kind of let herself um go along with this because she felt so comfortable with everything that was being presented to her. Now, when I say the victim blaming game, when we're talking about the victim blaming game, okay, I should actually enlarge this a little bit more because, what does it matter? You all know I can't see. But when I talk about the victim blaming game, right, I'm not trying to blame her as a victim, but I'm trying to make it that we as women learn to take accountability for our role in these situations, okay? I feel like there is a point where who's crying? I feel like there was a point where she knew that this was all bullshit. And I'll say this. Here's a tactic sometimes that we all tend to do. A lot of people do, right? Where we present accountability, but we're not really being accountable. We use words like I know I was wrong. I know that I messed up. I'm not trying to excuse myself. I know that I wasn't innocent in the story. Sometimes people say that to kind of seem like they have learned their lesson or that they recognize their part in it, but they do that to soften the judgment. Okay. If I tell you that, look, I know that I shouldn't have done this. I know that I shouldn't have done this. However, I was not, and then you present whatever, whatever argument you presented. You do that to soften the blow of judgment. You do that so that you can harvest a little bit more sympathy from the person that you're sharing your story with. I think that accountability has more to do with how you react to certain things rather than what you say about certain things, right? It's how you then change your behavior. That's where you kind of show true accountability. And behavioral change can also be acknowledged or recognized in the way that we speak, right? You can say, he did this to me. And I know that it happened to me because this is what I wanted out of it. I went into this thing thinking that he was going to do this thing for me. And that's what I wanted. I didn't want to do this for myself. I wanted him to do that. It's harder to say. Let me actually put a more concrete example. It's more difficult to admit that, okay, this one I'm saying more in relation to Tinder swindler people. My theory is that the women who fell for that guy on Tinder swindler, like I said, is a guy that pretended to be a billionaire and like stole a lot of money from women. His story was generally, look, I've got a lot of enemies and they're coming after me. And you know what? My bank accounts are frozen and I cannot access my money right now. But you know that I love you and you know that I want to be with you. But right now, I really need I need you to come through for me, right? You know that I've got the money. I've showed you what I have because he's bought you Rolexes, he's given you cars, he's gone with fancy places with you, whatever. So he's proven to you that he has money, seemingly. Therefore, can you please send me $10,000? I will pay you back. And you'll be more like, oh, of course I'll give him $10,000. This is a millionaire. Why wouldn't he pay me back? He has millions, right? So I want to be his woman. So let me prove to him my loyalty by doing this nonsensical thing, which is giving a millionaire thousands. What millionaire would think of just Jeff Bezos in trouble? Okay? Think of Jeff Bezos in a pickle and he needs money. Do you really think that he's going to go to his not current girlfriend, but that he's going to go to this other girlfriend and say, give me $10,000? He is a billionaire. It doesn't make any logical sense for a millionaire to come to a woman who he just met for money. Do you get what I'm saying? But because the women believed that he's going to be my husband, I am going to be an heiress, I'm going to be rich, I have to prove my loyalty to him. I have to prove to him that I'm not here for his money, that I'm willing to give up my $10,000 so that he can give me his millions. A woman can never out loud say that. She cannot say, I gave him $10,000 because I knew that at the end of this thing, or rather, I believed that at the end of all of this, he was going to give me more than $10,000. $10,000 is nothing in comparison to what I am going to gain from this relationship. I'm going to gain status. I'm going to gain wealth. I'm going to make everybody jealous. I'm going to make everybody wish they were me. What is $10,000 in the face of millions? You saying, I know that I was wrong and that I should have not fallen for this, versus you saying, I know that I fell for this because I wanted his money, are two different things. If Reesa Teesa had said, so I'm trying to clarify now my point, right? I went a little bit on a tangent, but my point is that if Reesa Teesa had said, I wanted to not, I wanted to 100% benefit from what he had to offer, potentially. I saw a guy that I knew I can't bag. Guys like that don't generally come after me, okay? This man had money, he had an executive position, and I couldn't let go of that. That is why I accepted all of his lies. In kind of like in those words. And I know some might argue that no, but she did acknowledge that no, I was wrong. She did acknowledge, at points that she said, no, it felt good to have my bills taken care of and whatnot, right? But I don't know, I guess like in maybe watch it and see if I'm maybe being a little bit too harsh, but I didn't sense like in a real sincere point of accountability from her side. I felt like she was using the tactic of taking responsibility to soften your judgment towards her so that you'd be like, yeah, but she at least acknowledges that she was wrong. She acknowledges that she wanted something from him, but she didn't do it in a way that was like unsatisfactory to me. And I say this because she didn't show any interest in him. She didn't show that she could also be a supportive wife. She didn't offer anything to this man. She was just there to take from him. She never spoke about how she loved him, how she lost a friend, or like she really just spoke about the money and the opportunities that she lost. She spoke about the marriage that she lost, and to me that was a little bit like that red flag for me from her side, where it's like, she wasn't really a good partner herself to this man who, yes, was lying to her, but she never showed interest in his family. She never showed interest in anything that he was doing. He always had to present this. There's this girl, what's her name? Oh my god, I'm going to link her video on here. And she made this point that I'm bringing up now about I'm going to find her thingy. I can't remember, but I'm going to link her video. She also did a very beautiful breakdown of the things that she had learned from this whole "who the fuck did I marry" saga. And one of the points she brought up is this, that Risa did not ever show any interest in this man. And this girl even made the point to say that if this guy was actually a good guy and he was not there for like the wrong reasons, he might have been the one to divorce her, because she never showed interest in like, hey, you always speaking to your brother. Let me speak to him one day. Let me just hear his voice, right? Let's go to your sister's house. She never proposed that. Hey, let's go to your family. Where do your family? Let's go to your family. It's always him saying, hey, my sister has a barbecue. Let's go. And she's like, oh, I don't feel like it. Or the next time he says, no, we shouldn't go because, Um, so she never really presented any interest in this man. So yes, for as much as she can say, yeah, it felt good to have my bill paid, and that's why, for as much as what he was saying didn't make sense, I chose to believe it because I wanted to be taken care of. She never really was uh, um owning the fact that she fully was there for these benefits. She kind of tried to mask that, I wanted to be married and stuff, but she didn't really acknowledge that, I was actually not interested in this man whatsoever. All I wanted from him was his money. I didn't want to be a friend to this person. She, at least from what she was saying, right? So that is also one of the things where it's like in her demeanor and her attitude towards the whole thing didn't give me the vibe of somebody that was taking accountability. And there was a point towards the end of this thing where, she started speaking to the ex-wife, and the ex-wife gave her the breakdown, and she found the guy's brother, who the real brother basically, who also pointed out to her like, girl, how do you work in law enforcement and you have no idea who this person is, right? And that to me was also very telling, because at some point also I got this feeling of like, and she just kept calling people, calling people, calling people. And I'm like, why are you still calling people? Why aren't you just leaving? And it felt almost like she was shopping for sympathy. I'm really sorry to say it this way, but it did come across that way. There was a point where it felt like the ex-wife already told you, and the cousin already told you, right? The brother already told you. Now you're still contacting the other brother. You're still contacting the other brother. You're still contacting the auntie. Like, you're still going to people, and many people have already told you where to get off, type of thing. So it almost felt like she was harvesting sympathy from these people, and it just didn't feel good to me to watch that, because now it felt like she needed validation to her victimhood. She needed to really get this um confirmation that this guy is a scumbag, and that maybe she's not the bad person in the whole story. Which, yes, she's not really the bad person in the whole story, but obviously, like I said, I feel like there are points where it's like, girl, you could have prevented this, you could have stopped this. I think that it's COVID. You don't need to move in with someone for the 2 weeks in, but I guess many people can make, it's fair to do that. But as soon as he starts lying and lying and lying, at some point you didn't even need to go to the ex-wife to get verification. You could have gotten out of this earlier. And I know that saying this is borderlining that whole blaming the victim line, but I think her story is very fascinating to me, because it really points out to me that whole thing of like it points out to me the thing where I feel like many times we don't learn, because it's not okay to talk about certain actions that we take that lead to certain reactions, right? It's not okay to say, hey, you can't move in with somebody that you met online 2 weeks after you guys have met. Oh, but now you're blaming me for what? Okay. Hey, you can't really allow yourself to you know, get pregnant by somebody who you're not even sure of. You've already seen the signs of this behavior. You can't really get pregnant by this person, you know? No, but now it's not my fault. Things happen, blah, blah, blah. You can't say that. Okay, now you married him. You've already seen that he's lying. You've already seen that most of the stuff is not true. You've already shown zero interest in him as a person. Why are you marrying this person? Why are you eloping with him? You've already seen that he's been unloyal, that he's cheated on you. Well, you can't, you're not in my situation. So, not allowing us to point out these behaviors, right? I think makes it okay for it to be a situation where I didn't know, so you can't judge me, right? This could happen to anyone. Yeah, it could happen to some people, I think. You know, it could happen to a lot of people. I don't know how many people. I don't know if I could have fallen for it. It's easier said than done. I know that. But there's a point where it's like, let us learn from somebody's mistake. So for us to learn from your mistakes, we have to talk about the mistakes. We can't act like these things didn't happen. So that is kind of like where I think it's important, you know, to really point out and pick out the point of like, in listen, girl, I understand that you didn't mean for this thing to happen. And I understand that for the most part, to some extent, you went into this thing with good intentions. I'm just looking at something quickly. Hold on. Okay, my bad. I was just looking at the time. So I understand that you went into this thing with good intentions, right? But it's not good enough to not point out or look at the mistakes that were made. That's what reflection is. That's how we get to learn from these mistakes, and that's where accountability comes from. Now, I left this whole thing feeling like I feel like there is a high possibility that it could happen again. There's a high possibility that it could happen again to her, to women who have been in this situation. And I'll tell you why I think that it could happen again. I think that it could happen again because of how society has made it okay for women to consistently be victims and for women to not take responsibility for their part in situations like this. Men who get swindled by gold diggers do not get the same sympathy. They don't get the same sympathy from women. They don't get the same sympathy from men, especially not men. Men don't look at other men who have gone through this thing and be like, bro, shit, dude, women are trash, man. Like, you can't trust them. I'm so sorry this happened to you. It's very seldom. For the most part, guys are like, bro, what you can pull. You know that you're not the type of guy to pull girls like this, okay? She's obviously here for your money. She's obviously here for your status. Men generally know this thing. And I find that women don't get called out in the same way. And I saw that the people who critiqued Reesa Teesa got a lot of slack, a lot of criticism. I don't know what's happening with my mouse. They got a lot of criticism for even trying to say certain things or to try and discuss certain points or certain opinions that they had about her situation. What is accepted is that, oh my God, you cannot talk about this. You cannot talk about this woman like that. She did what she could. She is the victim here. This man is wrong. Yes, she admitted that she was wrong. She admitted that certain things that she did. Oh, something is not right. She admitted that, some things were not done correctly from her part, whatnot. But it's not okay to actually sit and be critical of her. So, to an extent, even, I feel like it was rewarded. It was rewarded by, oh, you didn't get to go to Europe. Come to Europe, You didn't get to, the Hilton Hotel. Come sleep at the Hilton Hotel. Poor you, type of thing. And I mean, good for her, and I think it's great that she managed to get her bag. I mean, you got to get your bag however you can get your bag, whether it's through, never mind, get your bag. Bottom line, right? But I think that it's only fair to like and try and criticize. And I feel like also, if you disagree with my points, if you have criticism towards my point of view, it's fair. Let's at least have this discussion, but not shut down criticism. And I feel like she got praised more than what I think she got corrected. And I feel like she left there not having learned that she had a role to play in having fallen for this thing. I feel like she left there feeling like this thing happened to her rather than, okay, this thing happened to me, but what role did I have in this? And how can I make sure that this thing doesn't happen to me again? And most women with a lot of things, we have that. Like, we go through life with things happen to me. Things happen to me. I was watching a thing today about Amanda Seals complaining again about stuff. And it like got to a point where it's like, okay, Black Hollywood blackballed you or they blacklisted you, whatever. But like things can't keep happening to you. You know what I mean? Like it's not like everybody hates you. Really, everybody is the problem. Where are you not the problem? At some point, it can't be everything. It can't be everyone. Things can't just keep happening to you. At some point, you have a responsibility and you have a part to play in this whole thing. So it's very important for us to take accountability, but also learn from what happened. But if we're going to learn, or rather the best way, in my opinion, to learn is to dissect the situation. Where did it go wrong? What role did she have to play in this thing? Even another thing the chica mentioned that I am going to link her in the show notes was the religion aspect of it. The whole, oh, God knew, God told me, God, I spoke to God and stuff, and I'm like, girl, yeah, God, yes, but you, woman, you know what I'm saying? I personally don't like religion for that part where okay, tangent. Okay. I really feel like religion sometimes also holds women back for that reason. Because it's always like, oh, God says that he's got the right man for me. God has the right man for me. I'm praying to God for the man to come to me, But it's like, fine, tangent, I'll leave it. I gave up on it. I gave up on it because I don't want to get too worked out and I don't want to lose focus. I don't want to lose direction. But I feel like she didn't take enough accountability, and therefore there's a high chance that this might happen again. Maybe not. But in my opinion, there's a chance that she could fall for something like this again. Now, I want us to talk about what we can do to prevent stuff like this from happening, or what lessons we should have learned, or how can we prevent this from happening again to her or not to happen to you. Okay. Number one, you need to be honest about your intention. My video is doing things. I don't know. You need to be honest about why are you getting with this guy. So what I mean by that is a man approaches me. Hey girl, I think you're fine. I want you to boo you. I want you to be my girl. I want you to be my wife. Okay. Okay. He wants me to be his wife. And then I look at him, I'm like, do I want him to be my husband? Do I want this man to be my husband? Yeah, I want him to be my husband. Why do you want that man to be your husband? I want him to be my husband because he is very sexy. He's very tall. Let me pause here. And I'm going to say this. I don't really have the whole tall guy type of thing, right? I don't get it. I guess. I mean, I'm average height. I am 5'4", 1 meter 64. And I was rewatching Friends and I saw Monica and she's like this tiny and she's dating this tall man and he just picked her up and I was like, woo, okay, I get the whole thing now. It's never happened to me, but that is why I think short girls want tall guys. That that being swept off your feet literally is a cute thing. But either way, I think that it's important for you to see he's sexy, he's attractive, he's rich, and all of that. Why do I want him to be my husband? Okay, I don't really find him interesting. I don't think we really have much in common. I don't know if he's a good person, like character wise, but I like his money. I really like his money. So, do I go forward just because I like his money? Do I go forward because I like the status that comes with it? Right? Let me think about it. But be honest with yourself about those intentions. And when you go into this thing, okay, know why you are in this relationship. I'm not saying get with people for their money, but if you're going to get with someone for their money, at least be honest about it. Don't act like I love him. No, I love his pocket. And that's okay. Because at the end of the day, you chose this path. And you will know then that somebody with money does not have the time to sit with you at home because he has to be at work making that money. He does not have the time to do whatever, right? So, how come he suddenly has all this time on his hands if he's so rich, right? Because now you'll start to question, I like his money. Okay, I'm here for his money. How does rich people behave? They behave like this. Okay, maybe he's behaving a little bit off. Maybe he's acting a little bit off. Okay, fine. Maybe he's home. Is he working from home? Okay, what has he purchased? What hasn't he purchased? Who are his friends? Who is his family? You need to date this man for more than 2 weeks to find out who this person is. Okay? And then once you've been honest with yourself about your intentions within this relationship, you need to be realistic about the person that is interested in you. Not the person that you're interested in. Be realistic about this person that's interested in you. Why is this rich nigga coming to me suddenly? What does he want? What do I have that he wants? You got to question that. Okay? And it's not enough for somebody to tell you, oh, girl, you're so beautiful. You're wifey. I don't know you, sir. Why do you want me? Okay? Because I know what type of guys I can bag. I can't bag a guy like you. You're the first guy like you that has approached me talking about wanting to be my husband. Why? You better be suspicious. You have to be suspicious because it is abnormal. I cannot see, guys, no, not Tom Cruise. I'm not interested. I cannot see Dwayne The Rock Johnson coming to me and saying, girl, I want you to be my wife. Me, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, me. I'm even going way up above like the possibilities. But imagine someone like that coming to me. I don't trust you, sir. I don't know who you are. I don't know who you think you are, but I know that I'm not your type. Okay? So please move on along to your type because you are up to shit. You are handsome and up to nonsense. And I'm not trying to feed into the nonsenseness that you are up to. That is it. Just be just question. Be realistic. Why is this man interested in me? If you have to ask him. Say, you know what? This is very abnormal. I'm not the prettiest girl in the room. You could have anyone. Why do you want me? What do you want from me? And be honest with me. Don't come with stories and listen to what he's saying. Listen to what he's saying. Listen to what he's saying. Don't listen to what you want him to say. You need to hear the words that he's saying and not hear I want to hear him say this and then find that context in what he is saying. Because then, girl, and then if it is too good to be true, it most likely is too good to be true, right? Because you are now questioning, why is this guy no, this is too good to be true. There's no way this nigga wants me. You have to really, really, really recognize that there's no way this man wants to be with me, his wife. No. So if it seems a little bit too good to be true, chances are it is too good to be true. And if he was broke, girl, come closer. I can't do the thing. But if this man did not present to be as rich as you think he is, would you have given him a chance to even bother you? I bet you not. Right? You have to compare those scenarios. Look at him, listen to him, strip away the good things. And then you think, would I have given this guy the time of day if he didn't have the things that he has? Chances are you wouldn't have. There's a massive chance that Reesa Teesa would have looked at Legion if he just came as his humble, honest self and should have been like, sir, bye-bye. Okay? But because he came as a, haha, I am Mr. Legion, haha, she gave him a chance. So take away the honest, why are you here? Your intentions, right? Take away those intentions. And then you look at, if he didn't have these things, would I even give him the light of day? Do I even like this person? And chances are you don't. And that's how you know you kind of need to walk away from this person. And then you don't have to excuse what you know not to be true. There's a lot of times where Reesa would see situations and be like, this nigga is lying. And she'd be like, no, but maybe. Maybe if you know it's not true, if you know it's not possible, if you see that this thing is not happening, ladies, do not excuse it. Stop doing that, because now you have fallen into the trap of being stuck in a situation where you have to choose between, do I stay here and waste 6, 7, 10 years of my life with this lie, or do I leave and find somebody who is most likely an honest person and not a psychopath who is trying to get to my money or who's trying to mess with my head? Don't excuse things because you think you've bagged someone that you deserve. That is a big one. Don't do that. Don't do that. If he's lying, he's lying, then leave. Just stop it. Okay? So yeah, I think that is kind of like in how I think you can beat delusion. Just stop being delusional. Stop thinking that you are what you ain't. Okay? And move on. Like, and you know who you are. You know what you are worth. Okay? And you don't need to attach your, I'm not going to do that whole, don't attach your worth to whatever. Whatever. You do whatever makes you happy. But just know, girl, that you are in a range. We are all in a scale here. And people like to measure us 1 to 10. Rate her. Okay? Rate yourself. Honestly, go look in the mirror and be like, girl, I can't be a 10 if Kelly Rowland is a 10. I ain't Kelly Rowland. Girl, you're not Kelly Rowland. I'm not Kelly Rowland. So we are not 10s, girl. So accept that, okay? And Kelly Rowlands, okay, they get the 10s. We don't, okay? If we do, maybe it's your 10, your personal 10, but don't... Just stop it. And this is the end of the show. Remember to subscribe. Remember to like. Follow me. Share this episode with whomever you think you'll find it interesting. Let's push this. Give us a number 5, okay, on Apple Podcasts. Leave comments everywhere. Let's have the discussion, okay? Agree with me, disagree with me, whatever. Let's do the thing. And I love you, and I will see you next time. But remember to always lead with kindness, because we're all going through some bullshit, right? Oh, some bullshit, guys. It's happening out here. But we're all going through bullshit, and we don't need another piece of shit to make our lives even more miserable. So thank you so much for being here. I love you. See you next week. Bye-bye.